Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Thursday, the 22nd of January. Apologize for yesterday, but probably in your area it's doing the same thing. But there are bugs crazy this year. I mean, so many different strains of the flu bug, this and that. Probably bird flu too. But anyhow, instead of waking up like I should have at 3 o'clock yesterday, I got up at 2:30 and I said, I don't feel good. So I curled back up in bed and I slept till around 6:30. So I figured that's kind of like Sleeping Beauty, right? Because I slept almost 12 hours. And so I just said, I'm not going to hurry the video. I'll just skip until this morning. So now you're stuck with me again, right? So what are we going to be talking about today? I thought we'd talk about, is there a difference between an estimate and doing a diagnostic, and how it could be hurting your business depending on how you go about it. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, yes, this is a weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Thursday, the 22nd of January of 2026. So is there a difference between doing an estimate and doing a diagnostic? In all honesty, there shouldn't be, but there is. I don't know. If you're in business long enough, you're going to have customers tell you, can you give me an estimate on what it's going to cost to fix this and this and this? Or what would it cost to have a general service done on my lawnmower? And you haven't ever seen it, you don't know what it is, and you're kind of shooting in the dark, right? And I have a lot of customers say, just give me a ballpark. It has to got to be exact. Just give me a ballpark. And if you're on the money, everything is fine. If it comes in less than what you said, things are fine. But if it starts to carry over what it should be, that's where problems start to develop. So how do we stop this type of issues from developing? One, you could just say, I don't give estimates. I do give diagnostic. Diagnostic is I would need to physically see your machine. Physically. Because it could be a turd, right? Or it could be something that someone's taking very good care of and it's immaculate. And the repairs are pretty straightforward, right? Those are the machines that you love to see, right? The ones that are pretty straightforward. But in our shop, that's usually not the case. It's usually in for one thing and we find other things. I can use case in point yesterday. We have a tractor that came in, and what it needed was it needed a rear axle gasket, and some bolts in the housing were either stripped or missing. That was it. We went and got it last fall. Claude worked on it out in the middle of the driveway for a short time, and then he kind of lost interest, I guess, and we parked it. And I told the owner, are you in a big hurry? Because if you let me use it for the winter project, I'll do it at a discount. So he said, no, I'm not in a hurry. So we got it into the shop last week, and he's been working on it, trying to get it to start. It'll start on carb cleaner. I said, yeah, but you need to check the uh, compression on each cylinder. You need to make sure that it's got clean fuel in it and you got fuel going where it needs to go. And there's steps to doing this, right? And I asked him, I said, is the carburetor good on it? Yeah, I've had it apart and rebuilt it. When was that? I watched him tear the carburetor apart, and he had misspoken. It was another machine that he had worked on, and this one was right full of crap, rust and everything, and the float had a hole in it because you could hear gas shaking in it. And he had to use the drill to open up the orifices. That's how bad it was. And he's like, well, we need to do this and this and this and this. I said, no, we don't. By now, I've got one tire that's leaking calcium chloride that's flat in the shop. Back tire. A front tire that's totally off the rim. And we don't do tires. We used to, but we don't do them anymore. So I'm doing all this math in my head. And he's already into it for around 300 of what we've got done, which isn't a lot. So I told him, I said, we're going to stop right here. And I was like, what do you mean stop right here? I said, we're going to stop right here because I'm more concerned about getting paid than I am the work. We can get a lot of work, but it's getting paid for the work is what you have to concentrate on. So I sent a text to the owner and I said, look, this is what we found so far. We're going to be sending those 2 tires out if you decide you want that done. And then you can go pay that person directly for the repairs on the tires. And you're talking another $700 to $800 on our end to finish up the ass end and get this thing running. So about 10 minutes later, I get a text back saying, is that a ballpark or is that, I said, everything's a ballpark. I said, I don't know, we keep hitting things that we didn't see because it's not visible. And this tractor, he said, had been running and it just quit. No, I hadn't. This thing hadn't been running in probably 8 to 10 years. Letting machinery sit for long periods of time does hurt them. The worst thing you can do to any piece of equipment is not use it. Not fire it up like a generator. Fire it up. Let it run. Do your thing, And so, I mean, it's a win-win for the shop because if people aren't taking care of stuff, then we get to see it, right? But sometimes, you fight with this stuff and you wonder where the customer had something, you and I, Jason, were mentioning that in a post of why would you go out and buy something nice and then not take care of it? Because you don't value it very much, and you should. All right, so that's kind of a diagnostic because you got it right in front of you, right? Plus an estimate because you're telling a customer ballparking, but there's no, this is the exact amount. And what I tend to do is I try to estimate it a little high. That way it'll come in less than what the estimate was. This week we just put, a customer of ours had a wood splitter and it had one of the knockoff Chinese Honda engines on it. And he was missing a part. So your job as the shop owner or manager or customer service, what have you, your job is to take a problem and create solutions, more than one that you can talk to the customer about. And that's exactly what I do regularly. And I've done it long enough, I'm pretty good at it. I can do it just rough top of my head. And that is what would be the viable options to what his dilemma is. Is it worth doing a tear down and fixing it? And new rings, new pistons? No, not even close, all right? So that leaves either a eBay, Harbor Freight, or a used engine if you have one for a replacement. And I mentioned that we went to Harbor Freight and picked up that Predator engine and got it $30 off. That's a $30 win for the shop, all right? I charge the customer exactly what it retailed for. If we save money, that's being savvy, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. So I presented 3 different options for him. He could wait to see if we could come up with an engine, a used one, but we haven't in the last 4 or 5 months seen one. But he wanted to use it right off. Give me a ballpark. Give me an estimate. We've already got the machine sitting in our shop, so it didn't take much to figure out. $150 for the engine, $100 to do the install, and then end up $36 in hydraulic fluid, and he took it home yesterday to go split wood. When you're in business, if you can look at your business as being a problem solver for your customer, you're there to help fix the problem. If you can't fix the problem, or you can't add value to the problem of lessening it, then you're not going to keep them for a customer. They're going to go wherever they feel like they're valued, and you're trying to save them money, and you're solving a problem, okay? And if I were to rate which one in which order, solving the problem rates is number 1. I've got customers, it doesn't matter what it costs. Did you solve the problem? And the answer is yes. I've got customers that are more concerned about how much they're spending than they are about fixing the issue. So there's no one perfect approach to a customer. You have to feel it out and find out. But if you can solve the problem, you're halfway there, all right? And then if you can solve the problem and come in under budget, is even better. And what you're under budget and what they're under budget is could be grossly different. So always keep them in the loop, and that's like I was saying with that tractor. It's the first thing I do is I sent the guy a text. That's the way he likes to be contacted. We picked up another job yesterday by text by a friend of mine that just went and bought an 8N, and as soon as paid for, I got to take my tractor over and dig it out and haul it back to the shop and fix it for him. And then the other thing, and maybe I should do this on a whole different video, and that is one thing I learned when I was coming out of college with information technology, IT. I had a bachelor's in it. And I soon learned I didn't want to work on people's personal PCs, computers. Why is that? Because it never failed, no matter what you touched on their keyboard. Anything from that point on that was screwed up was your fault. Even though it wasn't, it was your fault. And you may have done an update and it changed the look and feel, and the person would go crazy until you switched it back to the old look. It's tractors is the same way. If you work on something, we had a Ford New Holland in here. We did work on it, and something else went wrong after the fact, months later, and they're wondering if that had something to do with what we did. No, not even close. That's probably a good video all on its own, right? So in the comments, do you guys do diagnostic, and do you guys do estimates, and do you guys do both? I give estimates, and when I give an estimate, I shoot it high, and I also tell them there's no guarantee that it won't go above that number. It's strictly an estimate. Until I physically get my eyes and hands on that machine, all bets are off. A diagnostic, you're going to pay for it. It's going to come into my shop. We're going to spend an hour on it, and we're going to charge you $55 for for that hour working on it. And if we can fix it, and we figure that out within the first 20 minutes, we go ahead and fix it, and the diagnostic drops out, and it just simply goes to hourly. Because you shouldn't be able to double dip. When you're doing a diagnostic, if you can fix it within that hour, charge them the hour's labor, which is usually about the same. All right. On that note, you guys have a great Thursday.